Yay, it's working. It seems to only work if I just do it exactly when I'm about to go on, because before I was preloading. Anyway, okay, so we are here in the Somatic
Yay, it's working.
Inquiry class. And I am going to work today with the cycles of the seasons, particularly this shift into fall. I mean, we're in the northern hemisphere on the East Coast, so it's getting cold and the days are getting shorter. You may be in a different place. Your days might be getting longer if you're in the south. And so yeah, more people are coming in. If you think that I'm just randomly talking, I'm not. I'm not talking to my room. I'm talking to people on YouTube. One of my friends was like, "I saw you on YouTube and I was the only one there, but you were talking." I was like, "Yeah, there were people in my Zoom room." So if you think I'm crazy, you're right, but there's more to it than that. Yeah, so we're working with seasons and our immune system and our lymphatic system. So I've noticed that for me, it's such a huge adjustment to come into the fall, to come into the winter. Even sometimes coming into summer or spring can be a lot for my body to take in. Like the days, length of days are shifting, and I don't have the same amount of energy necessarily as I would have had in the summer with the longer days. So allowing myself to really honor that and feel into my nervous system. What I want to do today is actually start with I want to start with the lymph. So we're just going to start with rubbing our hands together to access and bring online our lymphatic system. Our lymphatic system is a fluid system of our body. It's a very big detoxifier. So it is pulling the fluids out from the interstitial places and returning them through into back into our bloodstream, right under here, subclavian veins that take it back in. And that's where we filter. So we're going to start just rubbing the hands together, getting that feeling of energy and aliveness in your hands. Right hand to the left upper quadrant. So here is my clavicle, and under there is where that big subclavian vein is that's taking in the lymph, returning it to the blood system, and then it will actually, whatever detritus and crapola is needs to come out, will poop and pee out later. So this is the invitation in to bring in, to call back from the outer edges of our body, to call in that lymph so that it can come into these collecting ducts underneath our clavicle. You can relax your tongue, relax your throat. And we really want to make sure that these spaces are clear because this is the big return. And if this gate is closed and plugged, we're not, it's not going to be returning to the blood system. And that will be difficult for our bodies to handle. So clearing this up through hands-on touch, awareness, and some movement from the inside to the outside. Then same thing on the other side. And we could say that these could be done for anywhere 10 seconds, 15 seconds, a minute on each area. But I think really like 15 to 30 seconds is plenty, just bringing in that clarity. So this is my left hand now on my right upper clavicle, getting in under there. And I like to relax my neck, tongue, and jaw. And then we're going to go up just behind the angle of the jaw in here. There's a big, huge bundle of nerve, vascular, and lymph right up here, which often gets clogged, and I can feel mine are a little swollen. So right there under the angle, and I'm actually going to scooch my fingers forward right under the edge of my jaw where I have a bunch more lymph nodes. And I'm allowing myself to slow into that. So I'm feeling into my own system, like right as I go in here, I can kind of just slow myself down. Different parts have different tempos. Then I'm going to take my hand and just kind of move down this whole sternocleidomastoid area, encouraging whatever has come up there to drain down into that subclavian vein. Is that right? Which turns through the superior aorta, I think, into the blood system. If I say any of this stuff wrong and you know better than me, then bravo, lucky you. I feel like I have to constantly keep studying over and over and over in order to really feel like I know what I'm talking about, even if it's material that I've studied a bunch before. And also, I misspeak a lot. So, getting both sides. Let's take the hand. I got a wonderful compliment, slash, one of those Scottish style compliments where they kind of cut you down at the same time as giving you a compliment from another, more established somatics teacher. And she said, yeah, you do those great PSAs and all that stuff. That's really, what did she say? Yeah, your way of presenting is really not academic. I was like, yeah, thank you. Thanks for noticing. I try to keep it interesting and fun and light. Not in our heads, but in our bodies, in our awareness, in our patterning. I call those Scottish compliments because when I was in Scotland, I'm going on the armpit peck lat. When I was in Scotland, I noticed if anyone said something really nice to you, they immediately wiped it away by saying something kind of not so nice, like, wow, what a gorgeous face you have, except for that huge nose. Like it always has a balance, so nobody feels too good about themselves. Relax neck, jaw, tongue. And I can talk about the Scots because my background is Scottish, Irish, Norwegian, English, all of those island people. Well, Norwegians aren't island people, but bring it in, northern people. We're going to our xiphoid process. We're going to our xiphoid process and then down into our cisterna chyli. Just getting in there. I like to move and I kind of like to kind of squish in. Letting that relaxing neck and tongue get in there. So this, what we're doing with this lymph flush can be done every single day. It can be done more than once a day. If your body feels very tender and it hurts a lot, then be very gentle. That could be because there's blockages in there. Let's go to the next place, which is the inguinal fold. Right here's my leg. Getting into the inguinal fold. Lots of lymph nodes in there. If you look online, you can see pictures of the lymph nodes in your body and the whole lymphatic system, and you'll just see there's like places where there's tons, right? Armpits, inguinal fold, tons. Oh, I love your Kermit the Frog hat. I just saw your eyes looking at me. Okay, last but not least, behind your knees. You can also do this all in bed, laying down, like I have done it that way. It's easier if you're not in bed, but it does also work to be in bed. So right behind the eye of the knee, and you can kind of squish your knees around. Shake out if you're standing, if you're not standing. So the other thing, oops, we're going to just do a little bit of this because first I have to blow my nose. Deep diaphragmatic breathing really stimulates lymph. So we're getting a huff and puff, like you know the whole Wim Hof thing. We're not going to do it for 30 seconds and have a massive breath hold. We're just going to do like 5 or 6. Big breaths. Huff and puff, because that is also going to move the lymph in your body, even if you're laying down. A couple more times. Let it go. So we're going to do one more thing here before we go into just a free open movement exploration. You could be in your open movement exploration even as we're doing this. But this last thing is to get the nitric oxide going, and that's humming. So humming or nitric oxide is a antiviral, antifungal, antibacterial, right? So we're just getting these systems all to work together. And we're going to hum, and it'll just be gentle. If it feels uncomfortable, don't do it. But if you can, as I go into the hum, I'm allowing my awareness to really center in the vibrational sound inside my head so I can kind of come into myself through that vibration. And I'm allowing my tongue to move around inside my face. So that kind of shifts for me inside my head. I hear sort of these overtone patterns. And as I've come into this awareness up here in my head and throat, I'm also allowing that to move down. So there's this kind of wavelength, this wavelength, this pulsing of this wave of movement through my whole spine. So the head tail connection is coming online. Taking resting breaths whenever you need them. Let's play with the hum a little bit longer and then allow micro movement to bubble up anywhere that feels good, anything that feels delicious. I also just want to add, because I'm feeling the need for it, if you want to do hands-on on any part of your body, just go ahead. It's going to give you more information. So part of the mechanism of why that nitric oxide builds up is when we inhale and exhale through our nose. That's sort of where a lot of it is initially, I think, created up in these areas. And so if we've hummed and there's nothing, there's just a little bit coming out of our nose. When we pull back in, we're taking in that nitric oxide, which is great for our regulation of our heartbeat, our spaciousness within the system of our blood and blood flow. Yeah, so allowing that to now come in for a landing, like that's a lot of information and a lot of ideas that we've been playing with. So my invitation is to, we got one more thing we're going to add. And this is just an idea, and the idea is to breathe all the way into your bones. So our immune system, lymphocytes, are created in bone marrow. For adults, usually it's in the really big areas of the bone marrow. And those are white blood cells that are going to fight off infection. So we're just going to breathe into the bones, and maybe you can move with the bones, inviting that deeply earthy quality of bone into our body, that strong, alive vitality as we just breathe into the bones. It can play out in any way that feels like it's good for you or it feels interesting to you. If breathing into the bones feels kind of difficult to connect to, just imagine the weight of your bones really connecting to the gravitational pull of the earth. So the density of our bones, very strong, very dense, but very alive. They are still filled with fluid. They're living. They're connected within our body and within our systems, integrated. It may just be that you're breathing into your bones in your imagination. but our imaginations are just magically attuned to our bodies. So that's enough. Definitely easier for me to connect to my bones when I'm laying down on the floor, and I can let my body weight just drop and allow the muscles and the fascia and the fluids to just pool downward, softening, moving away from the bones, or dropping, the whole system just dropping down, allowing micro movement to bubble up or to like shift, even like the idea of like the tectonic plates of the earth shifting, the synovial fluid in the joints surrounding the edges of the bones, allowing that internal adjustment. And it may be, it feels like, oh, I'm making it happen, but you can also just kind of invite your body and your nervous system to come online together and allow movement. Maybe we have spent lifetimes of telling our body what to do. Just listen in, see if anything comes up. It could be part nudge and then part allowing, giving yourself permission to move in any way that feels good. And maybe it's just stillness. Maybe we're just moving with the breath. That's fine. Anything that feels good is the right way to go. I will say that sometimes when we have injuries or when things are going wrong, it's really easy to sense and feel into that. So if you're in that place where you're really hyper aware of painful parts or things that aren't functioning at an optimal way, see if you can find some other part of your body that does feel good, and let your awareness move between those two places. So the lymphatic system is a detoxifier of our body. Our skin detoxifies our body, sweating, even I'm sure breathing, but also our breath, our actual breath is a detoxifier of our body. So inviting all of those systems to come into harmony with each other. Letting yourself take as long as you need. Seeing if you can tune into the flow of your lymphatic, right? Movement helps squish that stuff around and return it from those interstitial places into the lymphatic system and into the lymph nodes. So seeing if we can start to feel into what that is, what that fluidity is. Inviting real flow through that system so there's nothing blocked. And maybe just seeing it in your mind's eye have like the fluidity of a I'm seeing like waterfalls and stuff like that. Maybe that's a little too much. Maybe it's just a nice stream, a healthy, clean spring. moving water. And giving your body the spaciousness to accept that fluidity and that movement. Even very gentle, tiny movement can have a vast impact on the whole system. Yeah, bringing in the humming anytime you want to, or any kind of big, deep breathing. Don't worry about sounding good. We're not going to start singing at the Met tomorrow. We don't even need to worry about that. It's just to feel into the vibration. Maybe we are. I hope somebody's out there about to sing at the Met tomorrow, but the purposes of this is really just for freedom, not to control anything more. You can play with different pitches and just see where they land in your body if that's interesting. I'm going to give us music. Will definitely be Jeff Gersh again, because that's just why it's so easy. And if it's too loud, let me know. People in my room. This is Ambient Fields number 2, the first song. I don't even hear it myself. Oh, there it comes. It's very quiet. Allow the music to wash over you, to wash into you, to just give you that extra yumminess. And feel free to sound with that, make sounds, use the humming or any other kind of breath sounds that feel good. fade that out. Let us have like 1 or 2 minutes in the silence of our own experience. Music is awesome, but sometimes it affects the journey a lot. So letting yourself just process everything that happened. Whatever way feels good. Oh, I got the big guy in here. All right, I'm going to stop the live stream. So if you are there in TV land, thanks for joining.